Yo, what's good? It's your boy Dot from Dot Me Now Coaching and Entertainment. For coaching, my links are down below. In today's video, right, I want to talk about the Lyran spirit because the Lyran spirit is a power which all Lyrans have, but a lot of them forgot about it. You know, when most people recall their past lives on Lyra, they usually only remember like small fragments, mainly because, well, there's different reasons why, but one big reason is because there's a lot of trauma that happened on Lyra. Therefore, a lot of people don't really have access because they don't want to face that trauma. You see, the more trauma you work through, though, the more memories you'll gain access to with Lyra. But even then, a lot of Lyrans that got born on Lyra were born at a period of time where Lyra was already established. A lot of people didn't see the early makings of Lyra and what they were really doing before it got to where it was when most people see their past lives in Lyra. You see, when most people see their past lives, it's around the period of time when like they're about to start creating humans. You feel me? But there was a lot more history before that, which people don't really have access to, besides like the Lyran royals, because the Lyran royals kind of have connections to those very ancient Lyrans. You see, now that's important to understand because if you're a Lyran royal, you really need to watch this video. You need to really understand this and take this shit to heart. But even if you're not a Lyran royal, it's okay because everyone has access to this power. But even back then in Lyra, people forgot about it. They forgot about it. They forgot all about it. And it didn't reactivate until the reptilians were, doing their thing, killing a lot of Lyrans and enslaving them and stuff until some Lyrans had broke free and then eventually activated the Lyran spirit for the first time after thousands of years. And everyone thought the Red Lions were like a myth and all these different things. But no, the Red Lions were not a myth. All right. What is the Lyran spirit? The Lyran spirit is the Lyran's ability to draw power directly from their spirit. This is more powerful than you may think because there's other beings like dragons, for example, who have a similar seeming power, which are dragon flames. But dragon flames are way different because a dragon flame is when a dragon, like dragons naturally have life force energy that's based upon whatever element they have. So a fire dragon has a fire dragon flame. Inside, you could say like their solar plexus, right? You have a huge amount of life force energy, right? Which, when activated and tapped into, gives the dragon immense power. You see? But that energy is not the energy of their spirit. That's just the energy of like their bodily elemental life force, That's like a human tapping into like their chi or like their jing or like their sexual energy. You feel me? I don't like to say that word because YouTube might flag my video, but the type of the energy. You know what I'm saying? That type of energy, right? When dragons activate the dragon flame, it's kind of more like that. With the Lyran spirit, you're literally pulling power from your spirit. And this is what demigods can do, and eventually like all gods. Like when it comes to a demigod, right? A demigod is able to draw upon its spirit in order to pretty much become immortal, right? To sustain its life forever, you see? Or as long as it wants to, right? And then like the higher god beings, they do that as well as manipulate different dimensions on various different planes of existence, and they could create whole realities. Really, we could all create realities, but they do it on a way grander scale. Way grander scale, which you can do it when you become that kind of being also, most of us, if not all of us, are connected to those kinds of beings anyway. But with that being said, though, there's different powers of the Lyran spirit, right? I talk more in depth about that on my Patreon, but understand that the first step in activating the Lyran spirit is being able to be willing to let go of yourself for a higher purpose. Because at that point, you're tapping more into your spirit. What is your spirit, by the way? Your spirit is an infinite, eternal energy. You see? And when you draw upon your spirit, you can use it to increase your own individual willpower. You can use it to increase your strength and stuff like that. But it could also be used for way higher things. It could also be used to gain wisdom and guidance. And it can be used to the point where your spirit literally possesses you and you draw upon different parts of yourself which you didn't even know you could do before. I experienced this before. If you watch my video about the time nexus, I talked about how that kind of worked, where I was in a place called Eberron, and whenever I would get taken over by my spirit, I was getting taken over by my Lyran self, you know? And it was interesting, really interesting. And and even while that was happening, right? Like I'd be in my feline form, because like I didn't mention this inside that video, but there was times when I was in like a feline form, right? And I activate the Lyran spirit, and like I wouldn't really remember what the freak I was saying because my spirit kind of just took over. It's like I was possessed by my own spirit. But like I would go around telling people like, yeah, like I'm the Lyran Dragon Warrior. In 100,000 years I'm gonna come back and I'll be a dragon and da. You feel me? And everyone's like, this guy's freaking crazy. You know what I'm saying? But then 100,000 years come when I'm a dragon, and then I come back and everyone's like, oh my God, he really came back. And I'm like, what are you talking about? They're like, you were here as a lion. You said all this. I'm like, I did. And then I start to remember, and I'm like, oh my God, I did. And it was crazy. So I'm saying this because your spirit transcends time and space. So as a Lyran, you are able to literally draw upon wisdom from time and space naturally. Like all humans can do this, but you can do it naturally. And the Lyran spirit activates through your heart. You see with the dragon flame, it's through your solar plexus. With the Lyran spirit, it's through your heart. You need to be able to actually open up your heart. And see, your heart is actually where the Egyptian symbol for the mind was a vase, and they called it your ab, and your ab was actually your heart. You see, now it was a vase because a vase holds things and your mind holds information, right? But inside your mind you have an intellect which thinks, you feel me? But all the thoughts that you think are based out of the information which you're holding. You see, this is why people can't really think. Like for example, if you don't know how to do physics, you can't think about a physics equation. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like I'll do this. If you don't know that there's a park down the street, you can't think about a park being down the street because you have no idea. You think that it's just nothing down there. You might think it's something else down there. You feel me? Once you have the information, you can base your thoughts out of that information though. And that's important because your heart is where you actually like hold a lot of information. You feel me? And when you can clear that information out, right? Or at least clear out the information that isn't beneficial, right? Mainly the stuff you picked up while living on Earth, which wasn't helpful to you, and you kind of cleared that and tapped more into your spirit and your soul. At that point, you clear the BS information, and then you open up to your spirit. Now your spirit could flow through you and express itself through you. And at first, you learn how to let go for a higher. Like a lot of people would want to draw in Lyran because there's a time when Lyrans, or really I'll just say Felix, at this point they were on Leo. So like there was felines who were trying to activate the Lyran spirit, but they couldn't because they were doing it from the wrong place. They just wanted power. They weren't trying to let go of who they were to achieve a higher purpose. But the ones that did were able to draw upon the Lyran spirit in order to like increase their willpower and stuff like that, to increase their strength, their ability and stuff like that. You feel me? But at some point, and people thought that was all that there was. And there's even different levels of that, to the point where you were danger breaking your body. You know, there's like a limit breaker kind of a thing, you know? But aside from that, there was other highways that people didn't, like there was ones that where your Lyran spirit literally guide you, and then you become like a Christ figure because you're just enlightening motherfuckers by just talking from your spirit. You feel me? There's ones where you kind of mix those two, where like you chain like you on some Buddhist monk but also warrior shit. There's ones where your spirit's taking over you and stuff like that. You feel me? There's ones that literally help you to the point where like no matter like if you die, it's like you can't be killed because if someone tries to kill you. Like, yeah, like let's say you bleed out, right? Doesn't matter. You draw upon the Lyran spirit and it keeps you alive. You feel me? Like, real talk. There's Lyran spirits to help you purify people, all kinds of stuff. You feel me? So, yeah, with that being said, though, like, for example, right? I didn't eat food for a long period of time. You feel me? I went like 16 days, right? While doing that, I was still building muscle. How? Because I'm drawing upon my spirit. You feel me? Like, you don't even need to be, because the Lyran spirit is just the Lyran's ability to access their spirit. And because Lyrans were like naturally pure beings, it was easy for them to access their spirit and actually draw upon it and stuff like that. You feel me? But the thing is, all humans could draw upon their spirit. It's just that Lyrans it's kind of easier for them to do it. So I was kind of just doing that shit. You feel me? And I was putting on that muscle. You know what I'm saying? Just using the Lyran spirit, you know? That's an example. But like, there's many different ways you can use the Lyran spirit, you feel me? And I want all Lyrans to understand that you are the ultimate power that you need, and that you have all the wisdom, all the strength, and all the ability to achieve whatever you want to achieve. If you are willing to let go of who you are now and sacrifice yourself to tap into a higher part of yourself, to complete a higher mission that goes way beyond you and your ego, then you'll be able to access the Lyran spirit. You feel me? I hope you enjoyed this video. Like, comment, subscribe. All my links down below. Peace the freak out.